Hello, welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today I want to do a little baking again, and today I want to make some cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon rolls is something just about everybody loves, and they're always a big hit when you have guests over, for the night, or you have the grandkids over or something like that. Always is fun to make cinnamon rolls. So what I thought I'd do today is do just that. So let's get going. The first thing we want to do is we want to start activating the yeast. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour in a cup of warm milk. Now, the milk should not be over about 115 degrees. And the reason you don't want it over that is your yeast is a living organism, although it is in the dormant stage right now. Get it too hot, you kill the yeast. So don't let it go over 110, 115 degrees. If you need to, use a thermometer. Just make sure that it does it. In this case, I just heated it up a little earlier, and it's about 98 degrees. So that's about right. It's in the area where the yeast seems to thrive. So let's go ahead and put that in the bowl. We're going to be using a half cup of just granulated sugar. I'm only going to put part of this in here right now. And the reason I'm only going to put part in there is when this yeast wakes up, when it comes out of its dormant stage, it's hungry. And that'll give us something to eat, a little food. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in about a tablespoon of my yeast. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to mix it together. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let this set for about 30 minutes. And what we're going to do then is that's just going to proof it, and we're going to let the yeast come to what we refer to as a sponge stage. And that's just where you look down and the yeast is starting to rise and multiplying, and it kind of looks like a sponge. We call it the sponge stage. So let me go ahead and turn off the camera here for a bit, and let's let this go ahead and proof, and I'll see you again in a half an hour. Okay, as you can see, we've gotten to the sponge stage, where it looks like a sponge there. And so now we're ready to go ahead and we're ready to continue because we know our yeast is active. It's been about 30 minutes and the yeast has definitely come to the sponge stage here. And I've taken a little pictures of it. I've taken a little bit with the detail camera, and I'm hoping that comes out real good because you can actually see it much, much better. But okay, now that it's gone ahead and it's gotten to this point, now we can start adding some of our other ingredients. Alright, let's go ahead and let's take our softened butter. Our salt. Now we're going to need 2 eggs. Alright. Now let's put the rest of the sugar in. And right now, let's go ahead and let's blend this in. Okay, now that's well mixed in. Now let's go ahead and let's start putting in our flour and blending that together. We're going to need approximately 4 cups here. And I'm not going to put it in all at once. just simply because I don't know how much it's really going to need. I tend to put it a little too much, then it's a little too thick and doughy, and then I got to add a little more water. So let's just go ahead and start with this. There's 2. Alright, we can definitely tell that's going to need some more. So I'm going to put a 1/3 in. It's getting there, it's pulling off the sides, but it's still a little too moist. So at this point, I'm just going to start by going a 1/2 cup at a time. This is 3 1/2. Okay, it's getting better. It's about there. Let me just put in my last 1/2 cup here. That'll give us our 4 cups, and I think we're going to be right there. Okay. The dough's still reasonably sticky, but it's coming off well, and we don't want this as stiff as bread dough. So let's call that good. Now I've just taken a bowl here and I've gone ahead and sprayed a little vegetable snow stick in here. And so now let's go ahead and put our dough in. There. All right, let's just work this into a little ball here. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to put some plastic over the top of this. And I'm going to set it over here to rise. And I'm going to let it rise about an hour, and then we'll be right back. We'll probably punch it down. It may need to rise a little bit more. Otherwise, if it's just right, we'll probably need to put just a little more flour on it as we knead it in, and then we'll go ahead and we'll make the rolls. So I'll be right back in about an hour. Bye for now. Okay, it's been an hour. The dough's risen nicely. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the filling for it. And what we're doing is we're taking 1 cup of packed brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Now we're going to mix this together. Okay, now let's go ahead and now let's roll out the dough. Now what we're going to do here is we want to take, and we just want to get this dough out into as good of a rectangle as we can. Okay. Now I'm going to take a half stick of butter, and I've gone ahead and I've softened this up, and we're going to take and rub that on our dough. Okay, now let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. All right, now let me go ahead and pull this out just a little ways. There, you know. Now, let's go ahead and sprinkle our cinnamon mix. There, let's not be chintzy, let's put it all on. Okay. There. Now it's time to roll these up. Oops. All right. Okay. Okay, well, I've gotten this rolled out, and what I'm going to do is I took a baking sheet and I sprayed a little vegetable spray in there. And what I'm going to do now is just take, and to cut a knife down in here, you're probably going to smash quite a bit of it. And so what most people prefer is just take a piece of dental floss and cut it that way. Okay, now let's go ahead and put these into our baking dish. Let's see if I can get another couplet here. The ends here aren't very good looking, so I'll go ahead and toss that one, put this one in. Okay. Now, we're going to let them rise again. Okay, we're going to let it rise, and I'll see you back here again in about 30 minutes. Okay, it's been about 25 minutes, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven now. And the oven's preheated to 375 degrees. I'm going to leave them in. Generally cinnamon rolls take about 20 to 25 minutes to bake. I'm going to go ahead and check them after 20, and I'll run a thermometer down in here to make sure A, that they are done, and B, of course, when you pull something out of dough, if it comes out clean, chances are it's done. So let me go ahead and put these in the oven. I'll set the timer and we'll be back. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. So let me go ahead and I'm going to pull them out and I'm going to check and see how far along they are. Okay. They're right at about 140 degrees. That's probably good. The probe came out clean, but I'm going to give it another couple minutes anyway. Okay, time's up. Let's go ahead and take them out of the oven. We'll let them cool. Now, while the rolls go ahead and cool, we need to make our icing. So I'm going to start out with 6 ounces of cream cheese. And I've had this get into room temperature. I also have 1/3 of a cup of butter in here, And that I took and softened up in the microwave. And to that we're going to add 2 cups of confectioner's sugar. There's 1 cup. Since that's a half cup, I use it because it's a little easier to get down in there. Alright, now let's put a little bit more in. Actually, this is getting pretty close right here. I'm not going to put a full half cup in there. I might put just a little more, but it's getting to a very good consistency. There. And there you have it. Alright, now let me go ahead and bring the rolls over. And let's go ahead and put some icing on them. Okay, and here we are. Okay, and here we are. These are our cinnamon rolls. Now you'll notice that the icing doesn't melt quite as readily as if we'd have just taken confectioner's sugar and water and put them on there. Why? Well, that's the butter and the cream cheese that's in there. And the flavor, to me, is a whole lot better, and that's why I use it. So, now let's go ahead and let's see if we can remove one. There. Okay, there we have it. A nice cinnamon roll. And the last thing that I always tell people to do, remember, and there's some here in the pan, very good flavor. The dough has a very sweet flavor. Cinnamon comes through, but yet it doesn't slap you in the face either. The coloring's good, the icing's good. You know, these are something you can serve and be proud of. So, once again, I thank you for joining me, and look forward to seeing you. Take care. God bless. Remember that cooking should always be fun, and I'll see you next episode.